What's going on, everybody? My name is Andy. Welcome to Pro 2 Andy. All right, today I want to talk about the new Aimpoint Duty RDS. To say I'm an Aimpoint guy is quite of an understatement because I do have several T2 micros, as you see, like this one right here on my Daniel Defense PDW 300 Blackout. I really like the T2 micros, and this optic is very similar in size and weight to a T2 micro. I also own several Comp M4s, Comp M3 Pro. I'm just an Aimpoint guy. Now, I know a lot of people out there are, EOTech people and Hollison, and I own those optics too, but I keep going back to Aimpoint because they give me everything I need and nothing I don't. The thing I really like about Aimpoint is you usually get some exorbitant amount of battery life. Like the T2 will have over 5 years. The RDS, it is a little bit cheaper. The T2 I have right here with the ScalarWorks mount was about $800 or a little more. And I actually ordered that from ScalarWorks. The Duty RDS is around the $500. So you're going to save around $300 on this optic right here. So you're going to get a little bit of different features with this optic than you would the T2, such as it only has about a 3-year or a little more battery life versus a 5-year. But if you're like me, usually around my birthday, I change every battery in all my optics and lights. So it's never going to go that long anyway, so that's not a huge deal. I do have one tiny concern about this optic, and we'll get into that here in just a minute, but I want to read over some of the stats. I do have this pulled up from Aimpoint's website. I wish I'd went to SHOT Show. I did get an invite from a company I'd worked with earlier this year, but it was kind of late. I was probably like a last minute decision, and I just decided not to go. But I have seen some videos on these, and I really think this is going to be a hot optic for 2022. Now, you do get a 2 MOA dot, a 39mm one-piece TMP mount and spacer. This here, 30,000 hours of battery life on setting 7. Now, that will decrease if you go above setting 7. You get 4 night vision capable settings and 6 daylight settings. That is something that kind of concerns me a little bit, and we'll get into that here in just a minute. A weight of 3.8 ounces, submersible to 25 meters. I believe that is a little different than the T2. I think the T2 is a little bit more submersible than that. But who's going to go scuba diving with their guns? I know I've never done it. I'm guessing that most of you all never will either. Now, one thing that does concern me about this just a little bit is it has 4 night vision settings and 6 daylight settings. So the Comp M5 states the same thing. 4 night vision settings, 6 daylight settings. Now, I've never owned a Comp M5 either. I almost bought a Comp M5 for my PDW right here, but after I seen so many reviews that talked about this, I decided to go with another T2, and that was they just couldn't get them turned up bright enough in some very bright daylight settings, like in some very bright sunlight or sunny days. They just couldn't get the optic bright enough to be able to see the dot like they wanted to. Now, the T2 right here, it has 12 settings versus, 10? I think it is. So you get 2 more settings on the T2, and this thing gets crazy bright. Now, you would think 2 more daylight settings wouldn't be that big a deal, but apparently it is. I've never owned a Comp M5, but I've heard several people on YouTube, reputable YouTube content creators, have talked about how they wish it had just like 1 or 2 more brightness settings. And the RDS has the same, it looks like the same settings as the M5. But you are talking about a much, much cheaper optic. I mean, you're talking about $250 to $300 between a Comp M5 and a T2. So is that a big deal? Probably not for the money when you're thinking about it. Now, I do want to say, as soon as this optic was announced, I got a little bit excited because, like I said, I do love the T2 micros. And this is the same size. Now, there is one difference. Before I get into this last part of it, let me get into some differences here. As you see from some of the photos, they don't have turret caps. So the little turret knobs, adjustments, don't have caps on them. They're recessed. Not a huge deal. That's how the MRO is. So everybody seems to love their MROs that I've talked to. And so it's not a big deal there. The other thing is, and this is one thing, another kind of little worry I've got. If you notice on the T2 right here, the adjustment knob is on the right hand side, and it is a knob. You turn it. Well, the RDS has their knob on the left hand side, and it's push buttons. Now, the only thing that worries me, and maybe not so much for me as a civilian, you know, buying this for YouTube reviews and just to put on guns, just to enjoy to go out plinking and shooting and stuff like that, but more along the lines as duty, as it says in the title, duty optics. If this thing is slamming against your kit, like you have a tactical vest on, a plate carrier, something like that, and it's slamming against your kit, I've not got to mess with these yet, so I don't know how tactile or how hard it is to depress these buttons to adjust the brightness settings. It may be stiff enough that it doesn't make a difference, but if it isn't and it's slamming against your kit, you could accidentally adjust the brightness setting on this optic as you're running around in a duty situation. So that is one thing that does concern me a little bit, not a lot, because there are other optics that do this, but I do prefer that on the T2, or the way you adjust the brightness settings on the T2 better than what it looks like on the RDS. Is that a big deal? No, because I do plan on putting an RDS on my new SP5HK. I just got this a couple weeks ago. This is a grail gun for me, and I've been trying to decide which optic I was going to put on this. You can already see I got a Knights Armament rail. I'm just looking for the Knights Armament optic mount. If any of y'all have one of those and want to sell it, let me know, because I can't find one anywhere. But as soon as I find that mount, I'll be mounting one of these RDSs to it when they become available. That being said, I did see in a video from SHOT Show, I forget who did the video, but Aimpoint told them that this would be available to the public in a month or two. They were first going to make them available to military and law enforcement, and then they were going to make them to the public. So you can expect to see these in your local stores, give or take a month or two, I would expect. And from what I've seen, I looked at other websites, you know, it shows not available, but on other websites, it also shows $499. So apparently the MSRP is looking like what they may go for. So if you're looking for one, you think, hey, Aimpoint's website has it for $499, I'll find it cheaper somewhere else. At the few websites I've seen them that had prices, that doesn't seem to be the case. That doesn't mean that when they become available, they won't go down a little bit, but from what I've seen, MSRP on Aimpoint's website is apparently what they may go for at your local gun store and range. There again, can't wait to get my hands on one of these just to see how I like it. And like I said, putting it on my SP5, I'm not going to be crazy worried about hitting that brightness setting, because, you know, this isn't something that I bought for, you know, home defense or anything like that. I've got the 300 blackout for that. But I just bought it because I always wanted one, and I thought it would be a fun pistol to own. So as soon as I found one, I picked it up, and it took me a long time to decide. But when Aimpoint came out with this, like I said, Aimpoint guy, we're going with the RDS. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. I don't know that I can answer them, because everything I'm getting is from the website, and from what few videos that I have seen from SHOT Show, I really wish I would have went. But I'll do my best to answer any questions y'all have. If you have any questions about the T2, I can probably answer that, or either one of these firearms. Let me know in the comments below. I am going to try to focus more on this channel this year than I have in the past, because I want to get this channel grown and get another invite to SHOT Show next year, because I've already got a camera guy lined up. My cousin said he would be my cameraman if we went to SHOT Show, as long as I took him with me. So I've got a cameraman lined up, so we got to get there next year. But I appreciate you guys watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Love you guys. See you next time.